Welcome to the Habitual Woman Podcast with yours truly, Dabrina Wright. I'm a holistic, habit-based lifestyle coach, nutrition educator, and fitness trainer. This is a show about transforming habits into a lifestyle. We will introduce and reintroduce habits, as well as have a conversation with women about the habits and the rituals they use to live the life that they deserve. Now let's get into today's show. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies. Welcome back to another episode. And on today's show, we have one of my business besties, Monique E. Malcolm. Yes, I have to throw that E in there because it came up in the conversation. It was so much fun. We talked about all things systems, streamlining, organizing, cupcakes, better yet, frosting, better yet, buttercream frosting. So let's have some fun and let's get into today's show. Hello, everyone. This is Dabrina of the Habitual Woman Podcast. I am so excited today because I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide entire world. That sounds very weird. Oh, and galaxy, because she definitely makes me think about the galaxy. Monique Malcolm. I am so excited that she's here. Hey, Monique.
Hey, Dabrina. How are you?
I am so good. I'm excited that you're here. You're the
I'm
best.
excited to be here.
Thank you. I want to let people know how I came across. First of all, I came across you with Anti-Sparkle.
Mm-hmm.
We take it back to the days of you having literally dope ass t-shirts.
No, it's a throwback.
Man, and gear. And it's so funny because the theme is like the women who I've had on here for the most part. Some of you guys I've gone way back with and I've watched yet to meet you guys in person, but we've connected and I've watched the transformation and the transition, and you guys just get better and better over time and over the years. And that's what's happened to you. Anti-Sparkle was amazing. I bought gear. I still rock one of my bags. I can't even think. The geek bag.
The geek is gangster.
Geek is gangster. The yellow bag with the glasses, geek is gangster. Mad I can't find my t-shirt, which was like my most favorite t-shirt in the world. I got that t-shirt because I got diagnosed, which is a weird word, to wear glasses. And I was like, oh, this shirt is cool. Geek is gangster. I'm like, I'm going to have to wear glasses. I'm going to let them know it's cool for me to wear glasses. And your t-shirt gave me the confidence to wear glasses. So I appreciate that. And what happened is when I ordered it, you took the time to look at what I was working on and what I was doing. And I'm assuming you grabbed it from my email or whatnot. And you wrote me a message of encouragement. And I was like, wow. It was significant for me because I was just starting. So for someone who I love what they were doing, their content and their stuff was motivational, to see that they took the time to see what I was doing and to write something about it, words of encouragement, I thought that was really cool. So one, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And then, we connect from there. I had some projects I wanted to collab with you on. Life happened, transformations, transitions didn't happen, but we've stayed in contact in the process. Your encouragement, your support, your knowledge has helped to get me this far. It has helped to create this podcast. So that I appreciate. Your podcast is amazing. How's that going?
Ooh, so many things. We are getting ready to hit 4 years on the podcast. And it feels amazing on one hand because to stick out podcasting for 4 years is a accomplishment in itself because
yes,
podcasting is not for the faint of heart. I imagine people who are full-time YouTubers kind of have the same feeling. There's just the technicalities of it. And, you have to have the right sound. And there's so many things to do to make a podcast really work. And it's not the easiest medium to promote because of the nature of it. Like so you can't get out links, but people need equipment to listen or they need to be at their computers. So it has been an interesting journey, but I still love it. So I'm going to keep doing it. So here's to just being maybe a month away from hitting 4 years.
Golly. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, it's great content. The guests you have on there are amazing. Even when you do your solo shows, this is like, okay. Like I literally always, if I don't have pen and paper, then I have to go back with pen and paper because it's quality. Like there's always nuggets, there's always information, always reminders of what I should be doing, are great tools and resources. So yay, thank you for that. But yeah, so that's how I've come across you. I've watched the process again, Geeks Gangster, Pimp Your Brilliance, you have the membership, there's so much going on. Can you tell these lovely ladies kind of your story and who you are and why you even do what you do?
Okay. Well, first, I want to go back to something that you said about when you originally found my brand. So just like a pro tip for anybody who is doing something where they are doing e-commerce or sending products to people. So good customer service always takes you far. And as Sabrina just said, that little extra personal touch made such a difference and that helped us connect. And it doesn't take very long. You're exactly right. So because you used your business email, I Googled your business email minus your name. And I found your website and I got a little glimpse of what you're doing. And I just went back and I wrote that message and sent it. But those little things just help so much. And when we are small businesses, that's what gives us the edge over larger businesses. So just a tip, if anybody is in the space where they are sending things to people, don't ever underestimate like those little touches. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but those extras really do help out. So that's just that. But as far as my story goes, so I have been online since 2008 in some capacity. So I started out as a blogger. When I tell people I'm an OG, I mean, I'm an OG. I started out when Etsy was just getting its rise, like the crafting space was becoming a thing. People were quitting their jobs to make crafts. Twitter mostly was like tech bros and geeks. Nobody was using Twitter. But I found blogging and fashion blogging, and I just thought, wow, this is amazing. And I started out as a blogger. And that worked well for a little bit, but I always have loved making things. So the rise of Etsy and all the craft shops really, really appealed to me. And so I decided I was going to try my hand at crafting. And initially, it was all over the place. I did so many crafts. But the turning point for me was when I was in the craft store with my husband one day, and we saw a screen printing machine. Like it was like an at-home screen printing machine, not a professional grade one, but it was like really a single screen, and they had it all set up where it was really compact. You could screen print the shirts, you could burn the screens, like all in this one machine. And that was amazing to me. But I did not have any experience in graphic design, like zero. So when my husband suggested that I buy it, I just thought, that's crazy. Why would I do that? I don't even know how to draw. But a few days later, I went back and I bought that machine and I started teaching myself how to use Adobe Photoshop, which is not the proper tool to use for illustrations or designing, but it was the one that most people talked about and that I was familiar with. So I bought Photoshop and I had the screen printing machine and I started designing t-shirts. They were all over the place at first, but the t-shirts that I had that had motivational sayings were the ones that did the best. And so I just decided to kind of carve my lane around this, graphic, positive sayings, bold sayings on t-shirts, and see what we did. And it did a lot better than I ever expected. I had shirts on so many people. Issa Rae, the entire Awkward Black Girl first and second season. If I ever sat through all the videos with you, I could point out so many of my designs because I had emailed her and was like, hey, you have wardrobe needs and I have a clothing line and I'll send you whatever you want. Tell me your sizes. Just, trying to work smarter, not harder. So and I had shirts on her. I've had shirts on the Mad Violinist, which is like this really dope Black violinist who has toured with like Nicki Minaj and Lupe Fiasco, all these different people. So a lot of really cool success and like inside stories behind doing that. But after doing that for a while, I knew that I wanted to do more than just t-shirts. And then I got into speaking and I loved that, going to conferences and sharing what I've learned about business over the years. And a friend told me once, like, I think that you're just more than anti-sparkle and just t-shirts. Like you're more than that. So I decided to do a little pivot. I was still doing t-shirts, but I rebranded to Keep Chasing the Stars because I felt like that encompassed everything that I wanted to tell people. Like, no matter what happens, you still keep chasing your dreams, you keep chasing your goals. And that evolved into more speaking, that evolved into my planner, the Visionary Journal.
Yes.
That eventually is what led to the Pimp Your Brilliance podcast. And I think that that celestial galaxy thread is the line that channels through all my work, just this whole idea of like being in relentless pursuit of the things that you want, your passions, your goals, your desires. And so that is what drives a lot of my work. Just me thinking about all the stuff that I still want to do and have yet to accomplish, and trying to encourage and pull other people along the way. Because I don't ever want to get to a point where I feel like I've reached the top of the mountain and nobody's there with me. Like, I want to bring as many people as possible. And I feel like that is not a thing that people always think about as they kind of do their own ascent. They just stay so focused on me. But I'm like, no, when we get to the top, like, I want to party, and I don't want to be partying by myself.
Right. Dang. Yeah. And it's so funny. Like, you're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. Because what came up to me is, remember Alt? When you were doing the Alt conferences?
I've done so many of them. It's funny.
Is Blogalicious?
I've done Blogalicious, yep.
Like, yeah, like you were killing it. I mean, still are. You just transition to a different way of reaching everyone. But yeah, speaking and motivating, you've been doing that pretty much since day one. Kudos to hubby on forcing you to, he didn't force it, but he planted that seed real deep on that screen printer. And that's where this all came from.
It is. He's my greatest like supporter. He's literally the best husband ever.
Oh my gosh. Man, like I'm really like sitting there, I'm like going down memory lane. I'm like, okay, yeah. I remember when you pivoted to Keep Chasing the Stars. I was like, oh, that is so cool. And then the Visionary Journal, I'll definitely drop the link in there. That has, watching that elevate, I have purchased every version, some of them a couple times. It is amazing. Any plans for that? Where are we at with the Visionary Journal?
So I do have big plans for that. One of my biggest goals this year is to completely revamp the system, because the way that I produced it initially is not my original plans. I had a different plan for it. This is before the Happy Planner became huge. But when I initially made the Visionary Journal, it was supposed to be a disc-bound system. And I researched every possible way to make that happen, even trying to partner with Levenger, which is like a company that has been doing disc-bound and like productivity tools, planners, notebooks, that type of thing for years. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to partner with them to get access to their basically machines that make the disc-bound pattern in the paper pages, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. So I just ended up doing a spiral-bound planner. But now, according to my printer, they have the ability to do it. So that's a huge goal of mine and something that I plan on working on really heavily over the summer.
Awesome. I can't wait because, I'll be making my purchases. We'll definitely have to do some giveaways with that. So the Visionary Journal, for me, I've always, before I became the habitual coach and knowing like habits was really my thing, that was just really how I lived and existed. I'm very routine and ritual. It's crazy. I'm like, I call myself an oxymoron because it's like, just as spontaneous I am with something, I have to be very, very organized with something. And that's what the Visionary Journal did for me, especially helped me kind of bring all of my brain clutter into one place and actually be able to focus in chunks. That was another thing I appreciated, is that it helped me zero in on it and definitely structure my habits and rituals around being productive and successful myself. With that being said, what type of habits do you have or that you have in place which has helped you personally, professionally to get you to this point or just in your daily life?
So I have this thing. Well, first of all, Debrina knows this. I'm really big on systems. So That's why the Visionary Journal works the way it works, because I like to think big picture and then like take those tasks and figure out how to work them into my week. So I'm really big on using our project management system. I call it my second brain. So basically I use a system called ClickUp. But honestly, I'm not a system snob. Whatever works for your brain and how you live your life, that's the system you should use. But I definitely think everybody should use some type of project manager as like your second brain where you can store ideas, task, whatever has to happen. But I have a recurring task every morning that's called Be Intentional Daily. And it consists of 4 things. So exercise, journaling, meditation, and reading. So every morning before I start work, I try to do all 4 of those things. And doesn't matter in what form. Sometimes I can do exercise and reading at the same time if I have audiobook. Then I just knock those out at once. But the meditation is great because it helps me just slow myself down and slow my mind down before I get into work. Because I used to just rush out of bed and go from my bedroom to the office and just jump straight into work. But I don't like how that feels. It makes me feel all over the place and my brain feels frazzled. So that kind of a slow start to the day really helps set the tone for the rest of the day. And I'm an early riser. So I get up at 5. I know everybody doesn't want to get up super early, but I get up at 5 because it gives me an hour in the house alone before everyone else wakes up. Mm-hmm. And I try to do my journaling and my reading in that hour. And then at 6, when my son wakes up, that's when I transition to doing the exercise. So that way, once that's done, I can drop him to school. I come home, shower, then eat breakfast, I meditate, and then I start my day. And so I just make sure I hit all 4 of those things every morning. It has just made so much of a difference.
That totally makes sense, especially for a very active, creative brain to kind of tune in and get yourself set and ready for the day. But also the fact, I love the way that you mentioned being able to get your exercise in while reading, because you're using technology to say, okay, well, I can actually do an audiobook. And that's those key pieces, I feel like, and those tools, tips, hacks, resources to help functionally multitask, if that makes sense. Because it's like, okay, yeah, because if you're working out, especially if you're doing cardio or something like that, but to be able to listen to something when you're in an intentional mode, yeah, audiobook would be awesome. So what type of audiobooks? Like, what are you listening to when you do that?
It depends. So I have a handful of podcasts that I'll listen to. Not a ton, but there's a few that I'll listen to that tend to be longer. So I don't have like a 45-minute chunk in my day to listen to the Creative Pep Talks podcast. But if I'm doing 45 minutes of cardio and I don't care about what the instructor's saying, I'm a Pelotoner. So if I don't care about what the instructor is saying, I just turn on the subtitles and then turn on the audiobook. So at least I can just see like the cadence cues, like the speed cues and the resistance cues. So I'll do that. But mostly right now, I'm really loving a lot of fiction and magical fantasy. So I'm mostly reading just for pleasure. But in the past, just depending on where I was at mentally, I have found my workout times to be a good time to listen to like self-help books, ones that wouldn't normally keep my attention enough to read through them. So I've done Grant Cardone's Deep Work. I listened to that like while lifting weights. I've done, what is it? Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I love Clear. That one. I have that on
really
audio
good.
and print. Yep.
I did that. So I listened to it on audio and then I went back and so here's another thing, right? So we always think we've got to read books front to cover to back, but somebody told me like nonfiction books, you really can just kind of decide what you want to read based on the table of contents. You don't have to read it straight through because each chapter is kind of self-contained to whatever, the thing is. So if I listen to the audiobook and I overall feel like this was a good book, they gave a lot of good tips, then I just go back and I get it on Kindle and I go back to the table of contents and reread the chapters that stuck out the most that I really wanted to be able to take notes on or pull ideas from. And that way it just saves so much time and I don't have to read, like, I don't care about reading prologues. And normally the first chapter is not really talking about anything. So it kind of fast tracks that and I can get what I want from the book and move on.
Yeah, I love audiobooks was a thing because I used to do long rides and stuff like that. So it was a great way for me to be able to switch from like a playlist, like of songs to, okay, I still want to hear something, but get something. So I would switch to audiobooks. So that was cool. But what I like about like Kindle or even with, I guess like Audible or something like that, like I can actually bookmark it. Like, so if I hear like a quote or yeah, like that something gets a little meaty and good and I want to go back to it, like I can actually bookmark where to go to it. And I'm like, oh, it's like, I like this. And then I can actually translate that because sometimes I do still like a physical book, but now I know where I found it. So then I can go back because just like you said, the table of contents, because I know where I'm at, I can go back to the book physically and like read it and take notes or grab what it was that I was trying to get. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And then also, yes, we can enjoy reading fictional books, romantic novel, all that type of stuff exists. It doesn't always have to be self-help. Like live your life. There's, you know what I mean? And if you live it through reading or through literature, then that's fine. So cardio and then reading or having the audible of a sci-fi book, like, oh my God, how exciting is that? You know what I mean? I just feel like, especially because I'm a visual person, like I can just see me just like running and like hearing it. And all of a sudden I'm like, I have my own show or movie in my head, you know, of the words that are being said. So yes, kudos to, you know, but you're the galaxy queen. So.
Well, you know, I don't like nonfiction books. I don't like reading self-help or biographies. It takes me forever to get through them. I really like to get lost in a story. I have to set parameters when I need to read like business books or important books. I have a goal where, let's say if I was going to be reading Atomic Habits, if it had 14 chapters, I would commit to trying to read a chapter every morning before work so that I could get through it. Otherwise, it could take me months to get through that book because, I mean, I get it. They want to be informational, but it's really dry and the stories aren't all that exciting and they don't capture my attention the way that fiction does, because that's, you know, getting lost in the story. So I have to be a lot more intentional and really zoned in to get through nonfiction books. But fiction, I just love it. Reading was my first love. So, you know, as an adult, we have less time to just sit and read, but I have found audiobooks have saved me and have provided entertainment, especially during this pandemic where there's less stuff to do. I'm tired of watching TV. So
Right.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And if you have a library card, you have access to tons of audiobooks for free because you can download them from the library.
That is so true. That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure these days you can, first of all, that's an excuse for a field trip. Go to your freaking library and go get your library card if you don't have one. But even these days, I'm sure it's even that much more accessible. You probably can get a library card online. So get your library card and get access to all those. Yeah, it's a library. Hello.
Once you get your library card, download the Libby app or Overdrive, depending on your library. They're kind of interchangeable. But Overdrive, Libby will let you download both audiobooks and regular books. You can also check out the Hoopla app. That's another one. And Hoopla allows access to audio, video, comics. I think you could even get music on Hoopla.
Yeah, Hoopla I'm familiar with. The other ones I'm not. But I'll definitely be sure to drop those links and that information in the show notes because, yeah, any resources are greatly appreciated. But yeah, I didn't think about that. And I think, you know what? And I think we've had that conversation before in the past about going to the library, like going online library and getting the Audible books that way, because we had started talking about audio books and how they're helping during our workouts and stuff like that. And it was like, girl, he was like, you can get it for free from the library. I was
you
like,
sure can. And people were like, I pay for Audible. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
The library has them for free.
Yeah, I don't need to own it. And then, like you said, if I can download it, like, like, so true. So speaking of workout, you went through a transformation and you got in that cycling bug, bit you in the ass. And you was on it. And then you just mentioned Peloton. So it sounds like you are still cycling. How's that going? How are you living and loving that life? You still in love with cycling?
Oh, I'm always going to love cycling. Spin. I'm always going to love spin. It's my favorite, literally my favorite form of exercise to do that doesn't make me feel like, oh, I just hate this the whole time. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm a diehard Peloton fan. Like some people are extreme. I'm not there, but I do love the platform quite a bit. And I think it's amazing, especially during the pandemic. It's been amazing to just be like, I'm going to ride today. And I just go to the living room to do that. So that's been great. But I love the variety of content and just how easy it's been to be able to make a structured workout routine. As a matter of fact, this morning I did what's called an FTP test, which is basically a 20-minute trip to hell to figure out how where your level of fitness is right now, because I'm getting ready to do an 8-week challenge. And so you have to take the test in the beginning, kind of like, any fitness test, you got to take that baseline test in the beginning.
Yeah, I have my clients do that, the benchmarks or the pre and the post. So yeah.
So you do the baseline test, you do your training, and then you take your retest at the end to see how much you've improved. So it's like a 20-minute ride as hard as you can for 20 minutes to gauge where you are. And it really is. It's fun. The challenge is fun. And they have a huge active community. I'm a part of a group and everything. Everybody's super hype. But man, you got to take that 20-minute trip to hell just to do it. And then at the end, you got to go back. So, so it's been good. I still love it.
I love that you have no concerns about everything that you're going to go through during the 8 weeks. But that pre and that post, you're like, yeah.
No, because it's intense. And I should be more worried about the 8 weeks because that was just 20 minutes. During the 8 weeks, the classes are 45 minutes to an hour. Some of them are 90 minutes.
8 weeks.
For 8 weeks. It's 3 weeks, 3 classes a week minimum that you have to do. So it's intense, but I love it. And I love the results. So I keep doing it. But the 20-minute trip to hell is the hard part for me. I can get through the 45-minute class, but that last 5 minutes of the 20 minutes, I just always think, why am I doing this? I should just get off.
Have you ever heard of Army? You know Angela Manuel Davis?
Mm-mm.
So she's big in the cycle community, especially the West Coast, but she was like a master trainer at Soul Cycle at the West Hollywood location. And what has happened is she's a great motivational speaker. Like she's like been Oprah's like one of her 100 inspirational people, stuff like that. Like great. I love her. I follow her. Great trainer, like class leader. She, along with another gentleman, has created an online presence of the cycle classes. So very similar to Peloton, I think, but just definitely her style, her way. It's called Army, I believe, with 2 A's.
Mm-hmm.
And she does the classes online and they're like fire. Like low-key, she makes me like want to go ahead and give me a bike and get on there and ride. Like, haven't done it, but she has other style of classes. So I do that, but that's one to maybe check out, at least maybe tap into like the free membership for the moment and see if you like some of her cycle classes, especially since you have a bike. I think you would like it because it's definitely our type of energy and motivation. And then it's just fire, totally fire. So, but I know you Peloton people. Yeah, right. Yeah. After that. And it's cool because she has like, so one that I'm actually about to start is like, is it 21 days stretching? Like it's just different ways and just getting in there. Cause sometimes, we work out so much, we forget to take a moment and just active recovery, just, stretch our bodies, foam roll and all that. And so there's like a 21-day challenge to just do that. And I'm like, I was like, see, I can appreciate that. So I'm actually going to start that and see how that feels, especially because I've been going hardcore back into working out again. I'm like, okay, I need a moment because my body's like, what the hell? 45 ain't no joke. So the recovery is different. So with all that being said, the changes, so we've talked about food. Not food. That's what we're about to get to. We've talked about meditation. We've talked about structure of the day, habits, workout, what you're doing to get yourself set, the tools and resources. We have not talked about food. What are your rituals around food? Where the hell is food fitting into your day? Because I have not heard you say anything about eating. Oh, no, you said something a little bit about breakfast for a hot minute, but what does that look like?
I see food and then I eat it.
She's a pescatarian, people. She loves seafood.
So food is always the hard part, the challenging part for me because I'm really picky. And what I do like, I like to eat a lot of. And I have the wickedest sweet tooth of anybody I've ever met in my life. So that's always a constant battle to not eat the third or fourth cupcake because it was so delicious and I still want to. So that's always a challenge. But for the most part, I eat one of three breakfasts almost every day. And I just try to switch it up. So it's either like grits and bacon. I know that sounds crazy, but I just like a savory breakfast.
That sounds so good. I love grits.
I do too. I love a savory breakfast. And I feel like so many breakfast foods are sweet. So whenever I think like I can't do oatmeal today because I don't want anything sweet, it's grits. Just make a pot of grits. So that I eat oatmeal a lot, like oatmeal and berries and nuts. Okay. And then if I don't feel like doing any of that, I just make like a yogurt parfait with berries, Greek yogurt, and a little bit of granola and keep it simple and I eat that. Lunch tends to be the challenge for me. So I try as much as possible to try to meal prep or at least go into the day with an idea of what I'm going to have for lunch. Otherwise, I'll just eat all the snacks for lunch and that doesn't help. The point of doing all this workout, you're just going to eat snacks all day. So that's crazy.
You're working out to maintain the snack habit.
Pretty much, but that's not my goal. So I try to meal prep lunch so that way at least I can just go and get something to eat. And it's gotten easier because of the air fryer. Because listen, everybody's like the air fryer will take over your stove. But where I feel like the air fryer really excels that nobody gives it credit for is reheating food. Because we all know meal prep food does not taste delicious after you microwave it. But if you put it in the air fryer, it's delicious again. So, so I just try to make sure I make whatever I'm going to make for meal preps. It can be air fryer friendly. So that way it will taste good still. And then dinner, my husband and I kind of go back and forth about what we are going to have for the week. We try to plan dinners together. So it varies. It could be a meat dish. It could be a vegetarian dish. So like sweet potato, like a bootable with like sweet potatoes and chickpeas and like roasted cauliflower, that kind of thing. But it's just whatever's easiest to cook. Because in the pandemic, I'm tired of cooking everything. So really whatever is fast.
Got you. What's your favorite meal? If it didn't matter, prep time, ingredients, any of that, what would be your, yes, I'm eating that? Or it might be your thing. You literally are eating that every week or every other day.
Well, my favorite meal is a meal that I don't have to cook. But I mean, if it had to come down to something, it's going to sound horrible, but chicken wings in the air fryer and like tater tots. Because I still eat like a child.
Yeah. Because I already, as soon as you said that, I picture my little side dishes, a red hot ranch and ketchup. Because I was
like, make some good chicken wings inside the air fryer, nice and crispy, as if they were deep fried, and then like some Frank's hot sauce to toss it in, and then you got some crispy tater tots, and there we go.
Oh, your son is like, I got the best mom ever.
He doesn't like half the stuff that I like. And I'm like, I eat like a child and you still are picky. I don't understand how this works.
Oh my God. So what is his favorite dish from mom? Is it, first of all, is macaroni. It cooked or bought?
It's cooked. Mac and cheese.
Okay.
Whenever he sees me, he's like, you making mac and cheese? I'm like, yeah, I made mac and cheese. And he's like, did everybody eat some? Because that usually means he's going to finish off the pan.
He's going to clean it out. Got you. Gotcha. I feel him on that. When I get, there's a handful of people whose mac and cheese is fire, including mine. It's just a lot of work. But when they make it, I'm like, yeah, let me know when everybody's done.
That's him. You made mac and cheese?
Like, yeah, let me know when everybody's done. I'll suffer later because there's gluten and dairy. Man, I can't. Golly. Getting older, just your body is just mean.
That's how I feel about cupcakes. I love them so much, buttercream frosting all day, but they do not love me the way that I love them.
They don't love you the way that you love them?
Nope. And I keep on showing up and eating them 3, 4, 5, and every time I pay for it. So, there's that.
Oh my gosh. All right.
My husband, whenever we go somewhere, my husband's like, I've already seen you eat 2 cupcakes. Don't eat anymore. And I'm like, you don't know my life. I'm going to eat another one of these cupcakes. And then later on, he'd be like, I told you not to eat any more of those cupcakes.
Oh my gosh.
Things you just never learn.
I have a friend who he's allergic to strawberries, but he loves him like some strawberry ice cream or like strawberry pie or cake. And and I'm like, dude, but you are like allergic. He's like, I'm going to suffer today for the satisfaction. I was like, okay.
I'll say in the moment, it was delicious. Yeah. I may feel regret 2 hours later, but during that moment, there were no regrets.
You feel like you've earned the right to do that?
I don't know if I've earned the right to do it. I just refuse. I'm a glutton for pain. I refuse to stop doing it. That's the thing.
Because the cupcakes is real. What's your favorite cupcake?
Oh, man. I just love Publix buttercream frosting. It's so good. I also like strawberry cake with a nice, delicious strawberry buttercream. Honestly, anything that's frosted. If it's frosted with real frosting, not that stupid whipped frosting, then I'll probably eat it.
The frosting. So I'm one of them people who literally take frosting off of cupcakes, off of cake.
Somebody hurt you and I don't understand. You need to seek therapy.
But buttercream, like if it's done right, that right there, I'm like, okay, so we can do that. So there's a place. Have you heard of Georgetown Cupcakes? Mm-hmm. So there was one like a couple blocks when I lived in Boston from the school, and they literally have frosting shots.
Oh, see, I would be down for that anytime.
They have frosting shots. So first of all, the cool thing that they used to do is they had a cupcake of the day, right? And they would post it on Facebook. And that was the only way you knew about it. So if you go in and you said what the cupcake of the day was, it was free, like for the first so many people. So whenever it was like a flavor that I like, because it would be like a little, kind of like a small, like mini cupcake. So for me, I was like, okay, I can do this. But I had a work study, Zoe, I remember she loved frosting. Like she was at prom. So whenever I would go and get the cupcake of the day, I always would get her like 1 or 2 frosting shots. Like to see somebody literally just eat frosting and be like, and do the happy dance and hum and sing was worth it. Just that
sounds
alone.
Like my person.
It was crazy because I was like, first of all, the whole concept of a frosting shot made sense to me. I was like, that's smart. That's smart because I've given away the frosting topping on my cupcake so many times. Like, and that's literally what it was. It's a frosting shot. People just like, yeah, I'll take your frosting. I was like, what the? Okay. So, yeah. So, Georgetown.
You can buy tubs of pre-made frosting at Publix. I'm not
you don't do it, though, do you?
That.
You've done it?
Of course not.
The face. So, listeners, please be aware that she has given the guilty face that makes me think she has sat down with a tub of Publix.
Why would I ever buy a tub of frosting and then go home with a spoon and eat it? That's crazy. Only a crazy person would do that. Yeah.
Like what crazy flavor would they have done?
Just vanilla buttercream. Just vanilla buttercream. It's like you chase that with like some Nutella and oh my God. But I would never do that.
Chase it with Nutella. Okay.
Again, only a crazy person would do that. And
this is why she's doing 90 minutes on the bike.
Listen, you burn a lot of calories in 90 minutes. 90 minutes, you have to have a snack on deck to consume a carb so that you don't crash before the 90 minutes is up. So,
Oh my God.
Frosting is a carb.
You're just in there with frosting shots for your water breaks.
At the halfway mark, they'd be like, eat your banana. I'm like, who likes a banana? It's a frosting shot.
Oh my gosh. All right. So with that, Since we know how wonderful and awesome your days are, definitely treating yourself, I see is something that you must do. What are other ways that you practice self-care?
I take naps and I go to bed. Listen, people be like, I just stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what were you doing? They're like, oh, nothing. I'm just watching TV. I didn't have anything to do. I'm like, go to bed. Just go to sleep. I don't understand. It does not compute. What do you mean you just sat there till 2 o'clock in the morning because you were bored watching TV? Get that ass in the bed and go to sleep. That's what I do. So making sure I get appropriate sleep is a big part of my self-care. Even more so because I do have trouble sleeping. I have a mind that's just likes to remind me at 3 o'clock in the morning of all the stuff that I didn't do, all the stuff that is yet to come.
Yep.
Important appointments, just everything. It just likes to run through a whole to-do list. Yep. So I try to go to bed as early as possible so I can try to balance out those hours that I'm counting my to-do list in the middle of the night. So sleep is a big thing for me. Just general rest. I'm trying to lean into this idea of like, I can just lay on the couch, not necessarily be sleepy, but I can just lay here and just let my body be still and let my mind go wherever it wants. I can just lay here and do nothing. Because most of us were not raised in a household where doing nothing was okay. Like your parents saw you not doing anything. They were like, you need to do something. You don't have nothing to do. I got something for you to do. It's like, no, man, let people rest. Come lay down. So rest is a big thing for me. Exercise, as I've already mentioned, and more so than ever, I'm trying to tap into creative and crafty pursuits that are not work related. So I've been learning how to draw on my iPad. I've been taking some illustration classes, and that's been fun. It will eventually benefit me for work, but for the time being, I mean, I'm drawing bowls of fruit and learning textures and light shadows. So that's been
nice. I
and,
can't wait to see what happens with this. Because Monique when she gets a new tool, y'all, like she already done said, it will eventually benefit for work. So we gonna see something.
It will trigger back. Oh, and I've been gardening, like legit. I got a pandemic garden. Okay. I have like kale, there's cucumbers, there's broccoli, there's Brussels sprouts.
Isn't it amazing how fast lettuce grows?
Oh my gosh, we have like 4 perfect like Cabbage Patch size of lettuce out there, and they're so perfectly formed. And you're right, they grow huge. I'm also growing icebox watermelon, which is amazing because they're like small personal size watermelon, and we're training them to grow up a trellis. So that is cool. And like right now they're like baseball size. So I'm excited to see how they do.
You're going to have to send me pictures.
I post about it on my Instagram all the time in my stories, like people will garden updates. Pretty sure they don't care, but listen, y'all going to see these cucumbers that I'm growing out here.
All right, I'm going to have to start snatching them and sharing them. So people are like, ooh, let's see her icebox watermelon. We want to see your bunches of kale. I love gardening. I want to do that here, but I'm in Vegas, so I'm not really sure how that, like, this is the first time I'm in a climate that I feel like that is not garden friendly.
Container gardening. That's how we started.
I know, but it's just so, and we're starting to head into something. Like, we've already been hitting the 90s. You know what I mean? So I'm just like,
if you like spicy, even if you don't like spicy, peppers do really well.
Oh, I love spicy. We put, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll start with peppers.
Peppers, you can grow them in a pot. They don't require a lot of water. Like you just would literally take like a nice cup of water and pour it down there.
Yep, so easy.
And they're compact and they fruit like crazy. So we always have more peppers than we can eat at a time. So you can have some to pickle. So peppers are really easy to grow in a container.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that because we do have like a patio. So we have a shaded-ish area where I can, I'll do that. That might be my next weekend's project. Go to those because I got to repot some plants this weekend. So, which the weekend is, almost over. So my laundry list of things to do today, that's on there. Okay. Thanks for the seedling of what's going to happen. I'll be sure to tag you. because I'm close. I'm like, look, got my peppers. Oh, look, there's 300 peppers. Oh, look, I'm canning peppers.
You will be canning a lot of peppers. We have like habanero and Scotch bonnet. We're just starting to get Scotch bonnet, but we have so many habanero peppers.
Yeah, and we cook them. We use them everything. Like today is like for Sunday dinner, which is started yesterday because we're doing oxtails. So, peppers. And then when we do the greens. And then when I do mac and cheese, there's always peppers in it. It's like spicy. So, yeah, we'll utilize them. So that works. Okay. So 3 tools that you feel a habitual woman should always have at her disposal. What would those 3 things that she should have or do?
3 things. So definitely she should have some kind of project management system. You need a second brain, babe. You just need to get all of those things out of your brain and put them somewhere else. So whatever, there's so many different options. ClickUp, Notion, Asana. There's other options. Trello, find one that works for how you process information, learn how to use it, and then use it.
Okay.
So that's the first one. I think every woman needs some type of a mindfulness app because life is hard. So there's so many different ones out on the market, whether they're ones that help you meditate, they're ones that help you remember to breathe. They have habit trackers. Now they have apps where you can chat with somebody if you need to talk. So something like that I think is great just so that you have some additional support, something else that you can fall back on when things feel chaotic. I love the Headspace app, particularly their sleep meditations and their sleep casts. They do wonders for me when I am going through like bouts of insomnia. So I think something like that would be amazing. And then a third one, music.
Ooh, because why not? Yeah, music gives me life. Music is at some point, there's a playlist for every moment of every day of my life. Like, yeah. I like that. Yeah. Who are you listening to right now?
I'm obsessed currently with the Glass Animals. Their last album is amazing, like almost every song. And I just revisited this group called Jungle. And I was just thinking to myself recently, like, why haven't I been listening to their albums all the way through? They're amazing. I was just familiar. They had this song called Busy Earning, which I love. And I listened to it the other day. And then I went ahead and listened to the entire album. And I was just like, I've been asleep. And then always, Tame Impala. They never miss. Or I guess he never missed. Kevin Parker never misses.
Okay. All right. Give me something to listen to today while I get my slow flow work on. Okay. Well, I know you say you're revamping the Visionary Journal. What else do you have going on right now?
So I am getting ready it's not getting ready. It's currently open, but I'm about to go bigger with my membership community. So I've built like this really dope community for anyone who is interested in packaging up their brilliance into some type of digital product. If you want to add that to your existing business or you have a business idea. But I've basically made this 5-stage roadmap course that's interactive. It has digital badges that you unlock as you progress through the course, get digital currency because I'm extra. And I recently made like a reward center. So it's basically like the Dave and Buster's of courses. You get a course, you get badges, you get coins, and then you can unlock prizes. So it's something that I feel most proud about. But the people that I have in the community, it's a small but mighty community, but I have some of the nicest people ever who are creating all kinds of businesses. And I think if I had to go back to the beginning of my business journey, this is the place that I would have wanted before I had like a lot of friends in the online space and like just needed other people who were like had commonality and understood what I was doing. So that's the other thing that I spend my time doing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to jump back in because your content is amazing. And we go through the same issue where we are always trying to elevate and like level up our business. But these online courses, this should be boring. Like it doesn't, it like doesn't keep our attention because we do have so much going on. It's like, okay, like I need to get back to what I'm doing. I got into this to assist me. One, you're not keeping my attention. Two, it's very redundant. It's not engaging. So from what I'm hearing from you sound like you finally have created something for us.
I think so. I mean, the dirty secret about online courses is that 80% of them don't get finished. Like, I think it's like 70 to 80% is the drop-off rate. People don't actually finish them. And it's true. I have a desktop full of courses that are half completed for whatever reason. So I've been trying to figure out how do I bridge that gap between people necessary information, but not too much, because I don't want it to be where I'm giving you 40 hours of content that you have to like listen through. And then you have to figure out how do you apply it to your business. And then you have to do the work and then like actually apply it. That's too much. So I'm trying to bridge the gap between like enough information, making it actionable and just making it fun to do, like incentivizing people to actually do their work, because then it's like Chuck E. Cheese. Take your tickets and like you go get prizes.
Oh, I'm so in, because I can only imagine what the prizes are. Even on the most simplest level, I know it's still amazing. I'm picturing pins. I don't know what you have. Stickers. I don't know. I don't care.
Definitely both of those things.
See? And I know I want it. So there it is. I definitely would gonna get that information and share that with you. What is it called?
The Brilliance Lounge.
There it is. There it is. So you revamped. Okay, so that's what's been happening with that. Okay,
Yeah.
and I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll make that happen. I'm excited. So, where can they find you?
So if you want to hang out with me on social media, the best place to find me is Twitter, because I'm always on Twitter. On Twitter, my handle is Monique E. Malcolm, my whole name, my whole government. And then on Instagram, it's crazy because all the names that I love are too long. I would love to be Pimp Your Brilliance on Twitter, but it's too long. But on Instagram, you can find me at Pimp Your Brilliance.
Yes. Podcast,
Pimp Your Brilliance, pimpyourbrilliance.com. Pimp everything.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Just go back into the library of episodes, you guys. Like there's something for everyone. She has short, medium, and long episodes because, as you heard, she's been in the game 4 years now. So again, great content, great resources. Website. What's the website?
So pimpyourbrilliance.com.
Okay, there it is. So go there. She always has great stuff. Again, it's very digestible, which is what I love, and interactive. Look out for the Visionary Journal. Man, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an inspiration and so supportive.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
You are amazing. I probably should have that part edited because I can't sing, but it's all good. All right, ladies, thank you again for joining us on today's episode of the Habitual Woman podcast with the lovely Monique E. Malcolm. Pimp Your Brilliance. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever part of your day is. Till next time, ciao. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Habitual Woman podcast. Please take a moment if you enjoyed the show to share with your family and friends, and please leave a review. To learn more about the podcast and our community, you can go to thehabitualwomanpodcast.com. And until next time, this is Debrina Wright, your habitual coach, transforming habits into a lifestyle.